Silence. The hitman was handed a list of 6 names. His own was 5th. Victor Kane had spent 22 years making sure his name didn't exist. The only people who ever learned it were the ones who needed him dead. He didn't ask questions. Questions meant doubt. Doubt got you killed. Victor didn't have doubts. He had rules, and one of them was simple. If your name ever showed up on a list, it meant the story had already been written. The envelope came through Russo, same as always. Thick paper, no fingerprints. 6 photographs clipped inside. 6 names, no explanation. There never was, but this time something felt off before he even opened it. The weight was wrong, subtle, almost nothing. But Victor had learned to trust the things that didn't make sense. He opened it anyway. The first name was routine, a mid-level fence out of Red Hook. Skimming shipments, living like a man who thought he had more time than he did. Victor found him on a Tuesday night in the rain. Quick, clean, quiet. 2 hours later, Victor was home. Scotch in hand. City lights bleeding through the window. No dreams. That was the job. It had always been the job. The second name was where it changed. The man sat in a diner on Flatbush by the window. No food, no phone, no movement, just waiting. Victor watched him for 11 minutes before going inside. The man never looked surprised, didn't flinch, didn't run. Just met Victor's eyes like he'd been expecting him. And right before it ended, the man said something soft, almost calm. "You're late." Victor didn't respond. But something shifted in his chest, like a door he'd sealed shut had just been knocked on from the other side. He finished the job. He always finished the job. But that night, for the first time in years, Victor didn't go straight home. He drove. No destination, just movement. The city sliding past the glass like it didn't know what was coming, because something about that moment didn't fit. Men like that don't wait to die, unless they already know why. Victor started pulling at threads. Carefully, quietly. The way you do when you're not sure if the thing you're unraveling is going to collapse on top of you. 6 names, 6 faces, 1 connection, 3 years ago. Canarsie. A warehouse job that never made the papers, because nothing officially went wrong, except $40,000 disappeared. No noise, no bodies, no witnesses, just gone. At the time, it was written off as sloppiness. Victor hadn't believed that then. He definitely didn't believe it now, because every name on that list had been in that warehouse. Every single one, including him. When he got to the 3rd name, the door was already open. That told him enough. The body confirmed the rest. Cold, hours old. Someone else was working the list, and they were ahead. Victor stood there longer than he should have. Not because of the body, because of what it meant. He pulled the list out again. Read it slower this time, not like a job. Like a message. Name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4, name 5. Then the 6th. No photograph, no address, just empty space. But now he noticed something he hadn't before. The paper at the bottom wasn't smooth. It had been disturbed, like something had been there once, and removed. Victor folded the list carefully, because now he understood. This wasn't a contract. It was a cleanup. Someone was erasing every person connected to Canarsie, every loose end, every possible liability, and Victor was one of them. In a parking garage off Atlantic Avenue, he stopped the car and read the list one last time, slow, deliberate, like each name mattered more than the last. Name 1, gone. Name 2, gone. Name 3, gone. Name 4, soon. Then name 5. The air left his lungs. The alias printed there was one he hadn't used in 11 years, a name only 4 people in the world knew. Russo, the man who assigned the work. One more, and the last. Victor closed his eyes for a second, because now the question wasn't what this was. It was why him. $40,000. That's what they said was missing. But Victor remembered that night too clearly. The numbers had been checked. Twice. There was no mistake, which meant one thing. The money wasn't stolen, it was moved. On purpose. But by who? He had two options: disappear, burn every identity, every contact, every trace, or finish the job. The difference now was that the job included him. Victor chose to finish it. Name 4 didn't want to talk. They never do. But fear has a way of making people honest, and pain has a way of speeding that up. The name he got wasn't Russo. It was the man above Russo, the man who built the system, the man who decided who lived long enough to matter. Don Caruso. Victor sat with that name longer than he expected, because Caruso wasn't just a boss. He was history. Years ago, Victor had pulled him from a burning car on the FDR drive, stayed until the flames died, walked away before the police came. After that, doors opened. Work got easier, trust got implied, or at least Victor thought it did. He stopped running, because running meant accepting the ending, and Victor had never been good at that. He spent 48 hours closing distance. Old contacts in the Bronx. A safe house in Westchester no one was supposed to know about. Quiet moves, no noise, no mistakes. By the time he stepped into the room, it was already over. Don Caruso didn't reach for a weapon, didn't call for help, didn't even look surprised. That told Victor everything. The old man had been waiting. There were no greetings, no respect left for that. Just two men, and the truth sitting between them. Victor asked one question. Why? Caruso exhaled slowly, like a man who had already accepted the answer. Cancer. Months, maybe less. 40 years building something that only worked if every piece stayed in place. No leaks, no doubts, no loose ends. The Canarsie job was a test. Loyalty? Discipline? Silence. The money? It was never missing. It was bait. And someone had taken it. Caruso didn't know who, but he knew it had to be one of the 6, so he made a list and decided to erase the uncertainty. One name at a time. Victor listened without interrupting, because there was only one part that mattered. Caruso looked at him, steady. You were always the cleanest one, he said. That's what made you dangerous. Not guilty, not innocent, just uncertain. And uncertainty didn't survive in Caruso's world. To the Don, it wasn't personal. It never was. But to Victor, it was the only thing that ever had been. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Victor reached into his coat and pulled out the list. 5 names crossed out. Black ink, clean lines, final. The 6th still empty. He set it on the table between them, took a pen, and filled in the last name. Slow, deliberate. One word. Caruso didn't look down right away. Victor didn't wait for him to. He turned, walked to the door, stepped out into the cold morning air. Inside, Don Caruso sat alone. Eventually he reached for the paper, read the final name. Something in his expression changed. Not fear, not anger. Something quieter, like a man who had just been handed the only verdict that ever meant anything. He set the paper down, and didn't pick up the phone.